You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Well, welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered. Guys, we are still at Stanley Dirt Monkey's house, and we're hanging out here just having a great time. It's been a really productive afternoon. We do have a special guest with us, and this is truly a special opportunity because Caleb was in town, which is exciting, with his wife, Brittany. So, Caleb Auman, welcome to the show.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me.
How you doing, brother?
When I walked, Stan's got this place where it's like, I felt like at home as soon as I got here.
Yeah.
I just was the weirdest thing. Like sometimes it's like, oh gosh,
this log cabin.
I feel like so comfortable, and he's made everybody feel so like comfortable here. It's crazy. So it's awesome.
It's crazy because he's like, I feel like he's this larger than life personality, right?
Right.
I'm like, he's the freaking Dirt Monkey.
I know, it's crazy.
But then when you come over and he's like, you guys want a water? You guys want like a Pellegrino? Like, he's like a regular normal dude.
Total. 100%.
It's just funny. Like, and I don't know if you guys ever felt that way every time you get around Stan or Keith Kalfas or Caleb Auman. I mean, they're just like normal regular dudes. But it still doesn't stop me from like getting my fanboy on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's especially me being here, the small fish and the whole sea.
I don't know about that.
It's like, oh my gosh, man, how did I end up here? It's such a weird like situation how we ended up here, anyways, or I did.
Yeah.
And then it's like, man, if you told me 2 weeks ago I'd be hanging out with all these dudes at Stan's house, like, geez, just how fast and weird things can shift or whatever. So yeah, it's cool to be here, and everything you see about Stan's place, like the fish and the fish tank and just like machinery everywhere. It's crazy. It's really cool. So
it is and by the way, I will echo what you said, all these big dogs. I am the little dog. I am the little guy here. That's how I feel. I'm hanging out with all you guys, and I was telling Liz on the airplane, I'm like, I just hope I don't mess it up. I just hope I don't like drive Stan's jet ski and like smash it into the boat or something and be that guy. You know what I mean? And Stanley's like, dude, you just messed up my jet ski. Like, you owe me $9,000. Like that guy, you know?
We can't take you anywhere and be proud of you.
Basically, like Liz is like, she's like, hey, these people are successful and they're wealthy. Don't mess this up. And I'm like, why would I mess it up? She's like, you're the guy that would mess it up. I go, thanks, babe. I appreciate that. So anyway, but hey, it's gonna be cool to hear your guys' story a little bit more. You and Brittany have had a lot going on the last 6-7 months. I think you were last on the show maybe 3-4 months ago.
It would have been, it was wintertime, and that sounds about right,
yeah.
It was kind of, I think the COVID thing was just starting to get weird.
I think it was like February, March.
I want to say that's right, yeah.
So we're kind of like a mid-season update here. And your company's growing. Actually, Brittany is at an event right now that if you want to highlight for her in a second, we can cover because there's so many good things going on. So before we do, let's do this. We're going to break it down. We're going to hear from one of our show sponsors, which is my training program website, Lawntrepreneur Academy, and then we'll get right back into it.
New program alert. The How to Get New Lawn Care Customers training program is now available. If you guys have ever struggled at acquiring new customers or are looking to grow your lawn care business, then this new program might just be for you. Looking to learn the best tactics to develop a successful postcard marketing campaign? We got you covered. Have you ever wondered how to use social media to exponentially grow your business and dominate the competition? We got that too. Whether you're just getting started in business or you're a seasoned vet, there's something for everyone in this new program available now, exclusively at LawnTrepreneurAcademy.com.
Awesome. Well, cool deal. Well, again, thank you so much to one of our companies, LawnTrepreneurAcademy.com, for sponsoring the show. But also, thank you to all of you guys that have went over there and supported us with, purchasing training programs that have been hopefully there to help you guys grow your businesses. We have launched the new How to Get Customers training program. There's 6 different modules inside that course, and they're literally designed to help you guys grow your business and get new customers. You want to learn about Facebook marketing? That's in there. If you want to learn about Google My Business, that's in there. How to run a successful postcard marketing campaign, yard sign campaign, door-to-door sales, it's all in there. And just a super, super solid resource for you guys. So much stuff also to check out while we're there at LawnTrepreneurAcademy.com. And you know what? Again, all those programs and resources are literally just designed to help you guys grow your business, which is the most exciting part. So, all right, Caleb, let's get back into it, man. Where are you guys at right now with life? How's things going, bro? It's been 4 or 5 months?
Yeah, and
what 4 or 5 months it's been.
Yeah, something. It's been so we were saying, and what is it? Year 2020 now. The COVID thing was just starting to get weird, and work with the state shutdowns and all that stuff was starting to happen, and Britt and I had a meeting of like discussing finances. Like we were anticipating like, man, this does not look good.
Yeah.
Because Michigan was starting talking about shutting down if they hadn't already completely shut down and shut down non-essential services, whatever that is. And Britt and I started thinking like, we better start retooling our budget for the year.
Sure.
And
up
we're
or
thinking,
down? Up or
down.
Yeah.
Down. We were kind of anticipating like, man, nobody's gonna sit still. I mean, everybody's gonna sit still, sit tight with their money. And we started making plans to cut our budget, our gross sales, anticipation goal like in half.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were really making sure we were tight on where our overhead was and like what cash reserves we had and all that stuff. And we really started getting into that just to make sure that, because I'm always practicing, you got to be able to weather the storm, right? Because
100%.
For 2 years, and anybody else, it's not hard to be Nostradamus on this one, but like a year or two ago or a couple years ago, and you and I have talked like many, many, many times about like the upcoming, financial recession or whatever of like however it's triggered.
Sure.
Right. And who would have thought it'd been this global pandemic or whatever it is, but that's the thing. You just never know what's going to be this trigger to change the way you've lived your whole, up till now or in this thriving economy. And what we've come to find out so far in our line of work, we're slammed. We're going to exceed our sales from last year.
Wow.
And things didn't stop. Like we're selling some of the biggest patios we've ever put in this year.
Yep.
Some of the nicest. It's going to be the most capstone for us as far as we're a hardscape contractor. We're going to sell some of the nicest work we've ever built, with like pavilions and grill islands and all this stuff. Because we do a lot of like $10,000 and $20,000 jobs where we're like, just a patio, some stairs, maybe a seat wall and a fire pit, nothing crazy. And then all of a sudden, and I don't know what the shift is, and I've had some thoughts on this of like, I don't know if it's a confidence in selling game.
Sure. Where
we're promoting more structures and, the pavilions and pergolas and all that stuff.
Yep.
I don't know if it's a confidence game in my selling that's changed or like, I just don't know.
Yeah.
But we're going to be putting in some really beautiful stuff here in the next month or two, and it'll be in August, and sales are going nuts, which I saw this after 9/11.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting so old now, I can have this kind of hindsight, and, I suppose you too. But we really anticipated, things to slow down. But same thing happened after 9/11. The economy was in rough shape. Like, people stopped or reduced traveling dramatically.
Right.
And they're like, well, we're just going to put more money into our home.
Sure.
And be it remodel. I know this is what's so odd to me. Like, there's everybody that's worth a darn as far as contracting or what, yourself included, is slammed.
Yeah.
Everybody's buried in work.
100%.
It's so contrary to what I expected. And
right.
Do you have any thoughts on what the heck is going on behind that?
That's it's funny because I talked to a couple different companies too that we do like content for on YouTube, and they're all like, "Hey, what's your pulse on the as the contractors of the field they call it, right?"
Yeah.
And I will echo what you said. Anybody I know is booked solidly. I mean, like landscaping, construction, concrete. All these different industries. So it's not exclusive to one industry, which is interesting.
Right.
And I would say that the economy was so healthy, robust. Everybody's ready to just hit it, rip it from the frames going into spring and summer. My only observation is, look, like you said, everybody's home. So you got a couple options there. One, if you're a homeowner, you're home, so you're not traveling, you're not commuting, and so you're realizing potentially that your landscaping, your shrubs, your lawn, things are dilapidated. Right? Maybe you've been trying to get that patio resealed or fixed or those steps fixed. I see one angle of that. Okay, so everybody goes out and they buy their own stuff at the dealers, right?
Right.
They're going to go get their own hedge trimmers, their own chainsaws, their own mowers. Cool. The other end of the spectrum, which relates to us, hey, man, this is all overgrown. I still have to watch the kids, and I have a professional job that I can telecommute and burn up the phone and do web conferencing and email. So they're still home and they're still having a demanding career, but they want to go work on their laptop on their back patio or by the pool. So they're like, you know what? Hey, I'm going to take that, $15,000 something and go put it into this outdoor patio so I can work outside because this isn't going to end in the near foreseeable future.
Right.
My brother and then his wife, so my sister-in-law, she just got word from her, she runs in a corporate situation setting, and she said that they're not even going to realistically be back in the office until spring of 2021.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So she's like, she's like, I'm working from home for the next 9 months.
Yeah.
She's like, there's no expectation of me returning to the office for another 12 months. And I said, well, how are you guys doing this? She's like, well, we got these, team chats and team, Microsoft team building, all these different things. She goes, honestly, what do we need to go to the office for? She goes, we're still kicking butt and being able to run her whole customer service team from home. So I guess my only observation is short answer long, right? Is that homeowners are home. They're doing it on their own.
Right.
Homeowners are home. They need a professional because they see how crappy it is. And so both ends of the spectrum, everything's going to sell.
Yeah.
You're going to sell patios. You're going to sell bricks. You're going to sell chainsaws. You're going to sell mowers, trimmers, blowers. And I think at least I get to see a lot in the green industry. I don't know about like hardscaping, construction like you, but everything that I get to see, I talked to one company, commercial sales are up 30%. This sales are up 92%. This is up 48%. And all my social media stuff, and yes, I've worked hard, but I just feel like it's the perfect storm because everybody, if they're those homeowners or they're wanting to be new contractors, they're coming to YouTube and Instagram.
Right, sure.
How to learn all this stuff. So they come to me, they come to you. And so I haven't seen an ounce of recession in anything we're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, knock on wood. I can't be more thankful, more humble, more happy. And the content's helping. So many guys getting into the industry.
Sure. Yeah, for sure.
So in our little ecosystem, now, did my traditional lawn and landscape business get shut down for 2 months? Yes. Did I lose out on $20-some thousand of revenue?
Yeah.
Yes. Is that a dent for Liz and I? Yes. I was extremely frustrated. So it's like, it's weird. You know what I mean? Like, but Michigan is like 149th of this thing. So,
Right, yeah.
or 150th. So I see the other 49 states, arguably, they're all working. And so, or in limited capacity. And so I guess the industry is still growing really, really well. We were locked up, but that's not, conducive of the whole industry. So that's is that same thing with your industry?
Yeah, I mean, in Ohio, we got a non-essential work order and all that. We shut down for a week during it.
Yeah.
And we had some other stuff that was arguably or arguable as essential or not, but it was stormwater infrastructure for retailers.
Sure. Yep.
And so we were fortunate to carry that through a couple weeks of just this gray area if we were supposed to be working landscape or not, or hardscape.
Sure.
And my guys they fortunately got tired of being home anyways, and they're just like, it's the Unfiltered podcast, right? But like people weren't like falling down dead in the streets all over, like, whatever. And my guys kind of were like, well, I think we can go back to work. Yeah. It's like, everybody, I know we worked the last day we worked prior to like us shutting down for a week. The week that we did was like, we were trying to distance on site and not like, all that stuff, but it was really tough. Like, guy sets a shovel down, another dude grabs it.
Contaminated.
And it's like
you're screwed.
And so it was really difficult to even try to do that in a work site. So we shut down for a week, and then even after that, and after a couple team meetings, we're like, I hate to say let chips fall where they may, but let's be smart and be careful about this. And if anybody's traveling or doing anything, like, let's play it safe. But now again, so much time has passed, and it doesn't seem to be much different. Now I know people have gotten sick with the virus.
Yeah,
I know an old lady that passed away from. She got it, but then got pneumonia, and so there's that debate of like, what do you really consider?
Oh no, it's a COVID death, bro. It's a COVID death.
Thank you, exactly.
That's a COVID death.
That's what they say.
If you die in a car crash, which is completely unfortunate, I'm not making fun, but if somebody passes away in a car crash, COVID death.
Right. Yeah. There's some weird stuff like that going on, and like I've said from the beginning with this is like any time that you see the government begin to capitalize on control or just enhanced measures of monitoring, let's say, I begin to become very skeptical of the whole scenario. And I don't deny the thing's existence. It's out there. I know it, but there's just things that are just fishy to me of like, the old, I say the old adage, but the never let a good crisis go to waste. Right?
Well, I was going to say the pandemic, right? And I'm pretty sure Liz and I had this thing in January because she was sick for like a week. She couldn't kick it. It was a chest thing. It was like a flu, but it wasn't as bad as a flu, but it wasn't as like, it was worse than a cold, not as bad as a flu.
Yeah.
We went to Disneyland, or not Disneyland. Where did we go? Harry Potter World. So we went to Harry Potter World. probably stay in a hotel. That's probably why Florida's spiking, because we went there, right? So we might have got this all the whole thing of Florida sick. So, but then of course 90% of their cases have been falsified, but that's a whole other story. So coincidence or conspiracy, I'll let you guys decide when you listen. But nobody wants to just call a spade. And I just see, like you said, don't let a good crisis go to waste. You look at hindsight now as we go through it. We're all learning, and it's all unknowns. It's all uncharted territory.
Sure.
So it's always easier to, mock, criticize, have fun, poke at now. But all things being said, a little maybe blown out of proportion.
Right.
Now, again, Liz had it. We went to Harry Potter World. I came back home, and I got what she had. And dude, I was telling you, it was unlike anything I ever got ever. It was really, really weird, but we survived. We made it through it. It was okay. Like, you got a 99% chance of making it. You got a 99% chance of not getting it. And then if you do get it, making it. And again, I don't want to make light, because some of you guys are, I got friends or family.
Sure.
Yeah,
it's serious still.
It is serious. So I'm not downplaying it when we talk about it, but you can't halt the world economy for it.
There's that.
I'm just being honest. And it's not always about economics or business, because I agree, you can always make money, and money is not more important than life, but life has to go on.
And there is a part of that to where, if you get to where you can't feed your family, or if, let's say, people are already in poverty anyways, their jobs have been cut out from under them, and now they're really sunk. And there begins to be that argument of like, and I think of like, the World War II generation, and just even generations prior, of like, I think for us, it's really got to come a point, because we just can't keep living in fear like this over something that the death rates and even the contagion rates are not. I've done my own research, and I'm not convinced I just did it in Ohio the other day. We had 3,000 deaths in Ohio, and there's 11 million people in Ohio. It's a 0.0002% of the population right there. And it's like, there were 3,000 suicides in 2017 in Ohio. Right. You know what I mean? It's like, and then 5,000 overdose deaths. Yep. And that's not car crashes or heart disease. So it's just one of these things. It's like, God, man, you could go down the rabbit hole of saying, well, there must be something way more to this that us common folks aren't being told.
Hashtag election year.
Thank you. Well, that's a whole other, wormhole or rabbit hole. But, it's just one of those things that's tough. And I think ultimately you got to make your own decisions and be prudent and be safe and reasonable. But we got to get back. Ultimately, I think we got to get back to work.
Yeah. Well, I it's good to hear the pulse that you guys have, and just hear from Ohio. And your again, this is just Caleb's position and his opinion. Yep. It's just my opinion, guys. Yep. I'm not I'm not the authority figure here. Here's the last thing I'll say about this, and we'll transition to other fun stuff too. Because I don't know, you and I, we get together, this is what we start talking about. You start seeing you won't accept legal tender cash on the windows, and you and I just start going down this rabbit hole.
That's a serious conversation.
It is a serious conversation that nobody wants to have, and it's like you just play it off, and you're like, no big deal, and I'm like, that's a really big deal. Like, that's a very, very big deal.
It really is.
But here was my final takeaway, and Caleb, I think you kind of agree with some of this sentiment, is I gave everybody the benefit of doubt, just like everybody else did. I'll give it 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks turned into 30 days, and 30 days turned into 112 days now at the time of this recording, or whatever it is, and my constitutional rights are just being trampled on. I mean, that's where the line has to be drawn for me personally. I'm not telling you guys what to think. Make your own decisions. If you don't like this podcast, turn it off. There's other good episodes. No big deal. But we got to have these kind of conversations. I'm like, when you're, my phone automatically updates, and there's a new tracking system part of it that lets me know where I've been and where other people have been. I mean, conspiracy maybe, other coincidences, I don't know. So things that make you go, But of course, we got to get this all out on the podcast with Caleb Auman, right? So, but if you guys aren't following Caleb, by the way, he says the same stuff on his Instagram. It's unfiltered there too. So make sure you go follow. What's the Instagram really quick?
With Tact, I believe.
Yeah.
All our social media platforms are at Auman Landscape.
At Auman Landscape. Okay. So, all right. So let's continue to talk about where you guys have been the last 30, 60, 90 days, because your company, with all this growth, you've been we were talking and spitballing about some of the stuff you might want to bring up when you're speaking at Entrepreneur Academy, because Caleb's one of these speakers, him and Brittany both. And you're like, dude, our company is growing. It's we've had to put other people in different leadership positions and different roles. new stuff for them, new stuff for you and Brittany, right? This whole thing is growing, and so it's got this little stair step thing, just moving forward. Where are you guys at with the company, and what's new in the last 90 days that it's all uncharted territory for you, sort of?
Yeah, what our main goal this year has been to delegate more responsibility than ever to our guys.
Okay.
And so we hired a new guy, and his official title is a project manager. He still is performing the work. We have 4 full-time guys.
Okay.
And Mr. Bozeman with me forever. He's a project manager on the hardscape side, and John is a project manager on our new division, if you will, Auman Environmental. And that has become one of those things where it's the reason we got a name of Auman Environmental was because that's going to focus on the stormwater work, the more construction-related stuff. Because if we call suppliers or even talk to other general contractors and stuff like that, and we introduce ourselves as Auman Landscape, they're like, oh, landscape, no, can you do this? Are you capable of this?
Sure.
Because you just plant flowers and mow grass and
you.
put some bricks in the flower beds and stuff. And it's like, so maybe we have that like Napoleon syndrome kind of thing going on or whatever. But like, so we've started a division, Auman Environmental, and so that's going to hopefully, and I know it sounds maybe trite, but it's the goal is there to give us a little more footing, and especially in like a statewide, because we travel the state for that work.
Okay, sure.
But our landscaping is our landscape and landscape design, horticultural stuff, and hardscape stuff is staying relatively local to Southeast Columbus, Ohio.
Okay.
So, but the goal is, and we've been pushing our guys to, and with pay that I believe. I mean, the guys are working hard and they're earning it for sure. But we've bumped their pay significantly. And those guys are doing, I'll sell the work, design it or whatever, and then we hand the plans and stuff off to our guys, which we're still working on getting more detailed information to them. And it's just this constant refining thing, like Stan, I think, was talking about it. So if you're listening to this, be sure to listen to the other podcast with Stan and Brian here, because it was really, I was fortunate enough to sit in the room on that one and got to hear Stan and Brian riff back and forth on that, and some really good stuff. And Stan talking about refining the company and not growing just for the sake of growing, which was a good gut check to me to remember. Like, it's easy to get caught up in that. That mentality of growth is profitability, and it's not the case. Like, growth is not necessarily profitability.
Sure.
And if it's done right, which our mindset right now is, like I said, delegate more to the guys. They're calling in their own material orders, calling in their own utility tickets for pre-locates. Don't call me if you get a flat tire. You guys, we've set protocols of who those go to, how to jack the trailer up. You guys know what you're doing. You're adults. You're grown men. Like, you know what to do. And we say that tactfully and not like condescending, of course, to them.
Of course.
But they know what to do, and they've got all credit cards. They can go, they know what to do.
Yep.
And I want to empower them to handle it as if it were their own company. But I want them to be entrepreneurs. They don't want to be entrepreneurs, but I want them to be intrapreneurs.
Yep.
And run that as if their own division, which it is essentially. And I think we're going to be building something really cool that's profitable and continue to raise their wages and make it easier on them and their lives, making more money, because I want them to make more money. I want to make more money,
of course.
And we want to grow and build something cool, which is going to be this company that is capable of like some pretty cool projects, be it in the hardscape space or like the environmental construction space. And I'm going to just keep networking and doing that end of the company and trying to vision cast and all that stuff, and then run our educational company, the Hardscape Academy, and then our social media company as well. So that's kind of the real long answer to your short question, but that's where we're at. But we're really trying to get the guys to take on more responsibility, and it's tough because they'll screw things up.
Yep.
I screw things up all the time, and I'm very lenient with that, as far as like, okay, we smashed something on the excavator, broke a door, or we were short material or whatever. Like, what are we going to do to hopefully not do that next time? And what are we going to do to muscle past it and learn from it? And so I'm always just really big on that. And the guys know that I don't go off the handle if they break something, because they're going to, and we tear stuff up all the time. It's crazy.
Yep.
And I say this a lot, but like when I worked by myself, I knew how much stuff I broke every week or did. And even that's me being the owner, and I really care about the stuff that is, we're paying for.
It's your money.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And I try to speak more in terms like of everything in the company as ours, as more of, team and collective, because I want that buy-in from the guys. I'm really trying to build that. And it's tough, but our guys are good about it. And like I said, a lot of that is going to be financial perk for them, is going to help them buy in. And just, we're trying to, everything we refer to in the company, or I do, is I'm trying to say hours.
Yep.
It's hour loader and, all that stuff. I want that buy-in from the guys. And I'm trying like hell to build that culture. And we actually hired a kid this spring. And this was Britt's doing, by the way. And she hired this kid. I didn't meet him for like the first week he was working for our company, but he was meeting with the guys. The guys were going to hire him this time.
Okay.
I've hired some real duds in the past, and the guys complain at me, why'd you send us this dude? He's worthless.
Yeah.
All right, you're hiring this dude, and
Sure.
it's on you if he's worth a crap or not. And it was a shame because the kid was good. He had good work ethic. Like he was awesome. He's one of those dudes, and he was young. He's a young kid, so you got that going against him with just that maturity level, But had issues with him being late right off the bat. And that is something I just don't tolerate. You just can't. You can't have 3 other high-paid guys sitting in a truck waiting on the 4th guy to show up.
Right.
It's just, that costs money out the door in a hurry.
Yep.
And so, great worker on site, but trying to motivate him and make sure he's on time, or just some other little thingy, snafus and things, just like, this isn't working out.
Yep.
And it's just like, and it's a good reminder too of like, we haven't had to hire anybody. Bo's been moving for 20 years. John came back to work for us after he moved out west to work and moved back east and wanted to get a job. So he's already worked for us before. He knows, what our deal is. And Keith and Travis been with us for 6 years at least.
Yeah.
So, we got a great team. And, it's a great reminder of like those guys, and we all have our faults, but it was just a good reminder of our core group of guys, like, man, you forget how nice it is just to have guys that are going to show up. You don't worry about that. And it was
100%.
like, and so I really empathize with the guys that are trying to grow and add guys and build that culture initially, because you got to get that first dude in and build that culture and get him to stick around. And those guys cost a lot of money. And at first, especially when we looked at hiring John back, that's right when the economy was like, we didn't know what the heck was going on.
Sure.
So it was like, man, do we want to commit to this overhead?
Yeah.
But it's Mark Bradley with LMN, who I just absolutely admire the heck out of. He built a $50 million landscape company. I mean, huge big boy stuff. But he had a really flat management level like what we're trying to build. But he just said every person that's hired, especially in managerial positions like project managers like we're having, they have an expectation. And you got to be very upfront with them. Like, I'm hiring you to make money, but you're going to make money too.
Yeah.
And like, we've got certain production goals we need you to hit. And if you hit them, that's awesome. If you don't, we got to talk. And if we still can't rectify that, it's just not going to be a good fit.
Sure.
And you go into the arrangement like that early on of like, that's the deal, right? Like, your goal is to, make a good living. My goal is to make some money off you as well.
Right.
And Mark would share all those percentages and stuff with his guys, and worked awesome for him to the tune of a $50 million company, right?
Sure.
But, we're just trying to, emulate what I see other successful people doing and have done with their companies, tweak it to our own culture of our company, and other, people I'm, fortunate. One of the great, I've said this a while ago, and Britt wrote it down, but, one of the greatest blessings in my life is to be able to associate with the people I've been fortunate enough to associate, yourself included, and, now Stan, getting to really know him, and talking to Keith Kalfas earlier, and, Marty Grunder and Frank Mariani and just Dick Ansley and just all these people, like, just, if any young guys out there, I've been rambling for a while, Brian. I'm sorry I get going on this stuff.
I talk all day, bro. I talk all day. These guys don't want to hear me.
I talk too much. I get so amped up about this stuff, but it's just like, find somebody that is willing to mentor you, like Stan was talking about earlier, and just and you were talking about with, a guy that showed you something as when you were young as simple, but like gentlemanly as like picking up your trash. Yeah. Like, just, I can't believe, I'll go on a tangent there. I can't believe how many people I see do that. The 3-point shot of like a wadded up paper towel, miss the trash can. Oh, well, some other schmuck will get it.
Yeah. That's what they get paid to do.
Yeah, it's just like, oh my gosh. It's just like, we need that kind of leadership of people. I posted this the other day, but it was like, do what's right even if it's not popular.
100%.
It's so tough sometimes because you got the world seemingly against you to do just little things, that are right.
Right.
Because it's not cool or whatever, but gosh, man.
I heard somebody say, like, who are you when no one's looking?
Yeah, that's such a good.
Yeah, because like when you missed the free throw shot in the bathroom with the stupid paper towel thing, and this is, if you guys listen to this like fun story we'd share on Stan's podcast, like some solid. We were getting thick. It was good. yeah, nobody's going to know that you missed the shot, but you know.
Yeah.
And if you can sit with that in your soul, that it's
Right.
okay to slack off or be a schlep or, not go pick up that piece of trash.
Yeah.
Well, that's on you.
Yeah.
For me, I know that I missed the shot and I have to go pick up that trash, and I want to be classy. I want to be respectful. I want, dude, I'll stay at somebody's house and, I spend the night, shower the next morning, very gracious, and I'm very thankful for them to open up their home. Dude, I take the towel when I'm done and I wipe the whole shower down. You know what I mean? Like, that's how, like, it was beat into my brain the last decade from one of my life mentors.
Yeah.
That's the respectful thing to do. Clean up, wipe things down. You're like, what? That's the weirdest thing. No, dude, it's like being a respectful, proper, nice, good-hearted person. This is really, really good stuff. Again, you're not oversharing, dude. I love it having other people talk because I've already done 2 podcasts, and I'm just like, I'm tapped out. You know what I mean? But I do want to pivot though because
Sure.
I want to talk a little bit more about the Hardscape Academy, and this isn't a plug, just to plug the Hardscape Academy. But I finally got you on the mic, and you and I don't have like 5,000 other fires that we have to put out where we can just talk frankly and just hang out. Again, we're at Stanley Dirt Monkey's house up here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. He invited a couple of us up here. Caleb was up here anyway. It just lined up, perfect timing with his wife Brittany, and we're also going to talk about Brittany's got some cool opportunities. So I want to double down talking a little bit more about the Hardscape Academy. I also want to talk a little bit more about some of the opportunity here for Britt. So let's do this. We're going to hear a little bit more from one of our show sponsors, which is the Lawntrepreneur Academy. If you guys want to hang tight with us, and then we'll get right back into it.
For those of you guys interested in breaking into the snow removal game, this one's for you. Now available exclusively at thelawnpreneuracademy.com. We've got you covered with the How to Get Started Plowing Snow training program. This powerful resource is there to help you guys learn the basics to plowing snow, what to charge, major pitfalls and mistakes to avoid, and so much more. Hands down, one of the most anticipated and helpful training programs we have available. We'll get you up to speed on how to crush it with your snow removal business in no time. Check out the training program today at lawnpreneuracademy.com, because before you know it, we'll be out there plowing that snow and making that dough.
All right, I love it. Plowing that snow. I borrowed that one from Paul Jameson. He's like cutting that grass and making that cash.
That's right.
And he's like, he hit me on an Instagram story because I was plowing snow at 3 a.m, and he gets up early, dude. He's always making like eggs and sausage and bacon.
Yeah, he's crazy, man.
I'm telling you what, I'm more likely to see 3 a.m. on the backside in than the front side out, if you know what I'm saying. So, but he was like plowing that snow, making that dough. I go, Paul, go back to sleep. You're crazy. Like it's 3:30 in the morning, but he's like, I'm up. I'm cracking open my Bible. I'm working out.
Yeah.
He's disciplined. He's a good guy.
He sure is.
At 3 a.m, I'm crashing, and then I'm drooling all over myself. So
yeah, I did a week of 4:30 a couple weeks ago. We were working out of town.
Oh, sure.
Oh man, that drags on you. God.
Yeah, I mean, I do like getting up early. Like when I'll do like a
4:30 is rough, man.
4:30 is early, bro. Like I can do a 5.
If you're not getting to bed at 8.
Yeah, no,
Dude, I'm going to bed at like
2.
Kids to bed.
Yeah.
9. I'm in bed by
Midnight
10,
1, 2.
maybe 11. Oh, I'm trying those days, man. I'm trying to get like 5 hours of sleep is like a blessing. Yeah. So
I heard somebody say like if you go for every hour, I don't know if this is factual. Brian's Law Maintenance said, but I heard like every hour you go to sleep later past midnight, it takes 2 hours to get that 1 hour of sleep.
yeah,
So like
wouldn't surprise me.
So if you go to bed at like 2 in the morning and you're only 2 hours behind, well, no, you need 4 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's probably some truth to that because when I go to bed, I'm editing videos, editing podcasts. I'm like, these people, are counting on me, like this, this demanding this.
Sure.
And so at 7 in the morning, I got to make sure that all this stuff is ready for you guys. But lots of lost sleep, a lot of baggy skin under the eyes, you know what I mean? But all right, I want to talk about the Hardscape Academy, bro. I don't think you've really got the opportunity on my podcast or Paul's podcast to talk a little bit about this. You didn't ask me to share about this, so, again, it's not like a big plug just to plug it. But the reception about it, we were talking, Stanley was outside, and then you and I were just cutting up before we did this, and I said, how's the Hardscape Academy? Like, are you selling programs? Like, are people devouring the content? Are people going through it? Do you see, like, a lot of warm reception from it? And you go, dude, there's so much conversation, right? DMs, texts, emails, phone calls, right? That people are loving the Hardscape Academy and the content because you kind of revamped it a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And self-described it. Your first rendition was, what did you call it? The Blair Witch Project?
That movie, The Blair Witch Project.
Yeah.
You remember that, where it's like
The
a
shaky
camcorder out in the woods in the dark, and the audio.
So your first tutorial video.
Somebody else said that, and I thought, oh, that is point on. That's so good.
It's like, well, thanks guys, appreciate the feedback. but that's good. So you had and you were like mailing DVDs. Is that what you said?
Yeah, we were putting them on DVDs. We'd sell one, or somebody buy one. I'd go to the post office, or I finally got the boxes we got a system down, right?
Okay.
And one of the, jeez, man, I can just talk forever about this.
Did they send him a check for $4.99 for shipping and handling?
No, right? Yeah. No,
that's what I call music volume 4.
We would, yeah, right. Jeez, yeah, remember that? We would, they would email us. We'd send them an invoice via QuickBooks, I think it was, and then they'd pay online. But then we'd ship them a DVD, and yeah, we sold them in Canada, and we were international, and then we went global because we sold a couple like New Zealand, and then one in Dubai, which was really weird. And actually, in Dubai, because I looked this address up. I was so intrigued by this situation.
Yeah.
You know the sand palms that they dredged out, where they made it look like a palm tree and sand in the
That's a bucket list thing.
It was like 3 blocks down from that where it went out into the water. So just like,
wow,
that's just so weird. But
now look at the place. The whole place is booming because of the Auman landscape.
They paved it all, yeah. So
Dubai is a mega city now.
It's so funny. Like, you don't think about it, but like they manufacture pavers there.
Yeah,
And it went to a paver manufacturing facility actually. So I'm like, 36, man, that's so strange.
And 36 months later, you have the Burj Khalifa tower. That's like the tallest tower in the whole world.
Crazy thing. Yeah, I don't. We might have done the
coincidence.
Yeah, it might have been part of the lobby or something, our training or something like that. But I'd love to know what happened with that. And we tried to follow up with it, but we got no response. So who knows? But yeah. Anyways,
when we were selling training programs, I get to see the same stats on the transaction. And so I remember my first international customer too. It went to Alabama. It was incredible because
international,
because that is a foreign country. If you've ever been to Alabama, Roll Tide, all my Roll Tide people. Jason Creel, he's down there. And,
yeah, Creel.
I mean, Jason Creel is cut from a different cloth. He's he's my favorite human being. He did a great job at our event, though.
Oh, he's great, dude. He had me cracking up.
He's the funniest guy sandbagging that you've ever met. But anyway, all right, go back to hardscape. So you had some new programs come out the last few years, and you're super passionate about hardscaping, retaining walls, geofabric textile.
Right.
Open grade at 57 stone.
Yeah, there you go.
Sometimes the 69 stone.
Once in a while, yeah.
Pavers.
You don't get that all the time, yeah.
Dude, I love this stuff. Yeah, right. It depends on supply and demand for the 69 stone.
Yeah.
Usually it's out of stock. But anyway, I digress. So it's like listening to our podcast, it's like a Pixar movie, right? Like the kids will be like, oh, this is fun, but the adults get the jokes.
Yeah,
you
right.
Know what I mean?
See? There you go.
So we kind of bake it in there for you guys, keep it entertaining. But so the Hardscape Academy, you've really rebranded it, redone the videos the last few years. Talk about it, man. What's it all about? How did you decide to get into this? Did you just see a need in the industry, or where did this all come from?
Our training videos came from the concept of I got one of those gut feelings. So back in the Instagram day, way back in my Instagram days and Snapchat especially, I would get tons and tons of DMs and questions about how to install pavers, or what should I do about this retaining wall, or how do I do this? And I would send responses like, hey, check out XYZ manufacturer's installation video, and
sure.
ICPI has some good specs to check on. But nobody had what I felt was one comprehensive place of all the stuff that the world according to Caleb is important to have in a training video.
Right. It's bits and pieces.
Yeah, it was just I was sending people 40 different places. I was like, man, I think we ought to produce something.
Sure.
And so on a shoestring budget and a hope and a whim of all the time. That's one thing, man, I learned and got a whole new respect for what it takes to shoot, and to the time it takes to you mentioned the scene, to set the scene, to do a live demo. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. Or a construction demo, and video it and all the takes, and then getting the machinery in and doing all the stuff, and editing. Oh my gosh, the editing.
Yeah.
And because there's so much to that. But long story short, we shot that first one, put on DVDs, and then the demand was really positive. The response was really positive. And so it's man, we need to step our game up and redo this. So we reshot it and did an online digital download, or I'm sorry, online streaming it is.
Yep.
Did a paver one, did a retaining wall one. We got a third one coming out in August for it's going to be more landscaping related.
Okay.
I guess is where I'm going to leave it right now, because we're still debating what all to have in it and how comprehensive to have it be. But I think it's going to be, I know it's going to be super valuable. So So we did that. We're right now trying to revamp the hardscapeacademy.com website. Shameless plug there. We're trying to make it look as cool as launchpreneur.com because it's a clean looking page. Ours is not so great. My brother does all our digital stuff and our back end work, and he did our website for us, but that's not like his strength, you know?
Yeah.
And so like I know our site could be cleaned up a little bit, and we want to make it more user intuitive and stuff like that. So we're working on that at the moment, but that's kind of the thing. And our goal is to just provide, a ton of value for the money. Yeah. And, and we're really trying to make our courses, like, I believe, like, reasonably priced. And
easy to digest.
The goal, and, like, although I don't know, man, because you know me well enough now, like, I get the one course is 2.5 hours, or actually both the courses are 2.5 hours long, so you just totally nerd out. You want to jump in, Keith?
Keith is walking around. You walking around? You want to – we'll get you on at the end here. Because Keith's walking around. He's just foaming at the bit.
Right?
He wants to get in.
Jump in here. So I'll hand these headphones over then. So so we've just been trying to retool that thing, and because we keep getting great feedback on it, which is always the most like flattering thing, and the most just such a cool thing to know you're helping people. Like that's the really cool thing. Somebody buys a course, and I still tell people like, go to a hardscape supplier, right? Tell them you want to get into this, you want to build. Just ask me if you get 25 square feet of pavers, from like a super discount or free stuff they got out back. Right. Go build a practice pad out back at grandma's, tear it down, rebuild it. Nothing takes place of like actual field experience.
100%.
Get the training, then go get field experience, and then put in your first one. Learn all your lessons, make your notes, get your production rates, and just keep honing in on that. And
I love it, dude. Well, you when you came to our live event, your whole presentation was how to get started in the industry. You were able to plug your stuff because I asked you to. It wasn't a shameless plug. I was like, no, dude, please plug it because I want this to be a resource for these guys that want to learn more about hardscaping and getting into retaining walls. And it was super well received because so many guys run a lawn care business and they want to go for the higher priced jobs, right? Right. And usually that's going to be in treatments for fertilizer or retaining walls and hardscaping and patios. Mm-hmm. And that's totally cool. Like I get the evolution. Or if you have a maintenance business and you want to start a secondary crew, the secondary crew is usually that landscaping, hardscaping crew. Right, yeah. So it was just so great having you guys there. You guys are going to be here again this upcoming fall in November, which is going to be just totally awesome. But I took a page out of your speech last year. You said, and I knew this, but it just made me think a little bit different. You said, go to more trade shows, go to more industry events, and I went to the Techo Block showcase.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Little plug and shout out for those guys. I wanted to go to the Unilock one, but COVID happened. And so literally like things were getting shut down. And it was kind of like... like in an action movie where like the star is like running off a cliff and the cliff's falling apart behind them. Yeah. So as fast as like we were all like trying to pivot, the cliff is falling out behind them. And the Unilock one got pushed back. And then there was one at the end of the month, and I didn't make that either because the world was getting shut down end of March. But anyway, I went to the Techo Block one. This is probably end of February, first part of March, and it was so cool, dude. Like I had never been to one. Yeah. And even the simplest thing to like the rolling suitcase sample thing, I was like, that's the coolest thing ever. And I got to see all the different trainers there, get to network with all the different brands and companies. And I was like, yo, I'm Brian's All Maintenance, passing out business cards. I was just consuming. I went incognito. Mm-hmm. Like I didn't even tell anybody I was going. And there was a half dozen people there that knew me, which was always fun and cool. And like, dude, I watch your videos on YouTube. I'm like, well, I'm here because of Caleb Allman. I watch his videos. But it was such a fun experience. Yeah. Because Liz and I were in the process of buying land. We want to build a home. And I want to have a Mac Daddy outdoor patio. Sure. I eat, sleep, and breathe outdoor living spaces. I love them. I've always wanted a serene oasis, like, you know what I'm trying to describe here? Like a peaceful place.
You better bet.
Yeah, because, dude, we go so hard. And when I get home, I just want a nice grill. Mm-hmm. I think hashtag grill gang is what we're all been using lately. B&B's got his grill. Lamont Harrison's got his grill. Mike G305, Caleb, Stan, Dan Tools in Action. All these guys are grilling, So if you guys tag me, I'll repost. It's just a fun thing. But I want an outdoor living space that has like this serene, peaceful environment. Yeah. So when I get home and it's crazy, I just want to like chill, eat a burger, and just watch the stars. And so I totally love and respect what you guys do.
Cool. Thanks.
It's really, really cool.
It's awesome to and there's so many dudes out there that build so much amazing work. Like we build nice stuff, but we don't build like super high end projects. And there's some dudes out there just crushing super high end projects that are just like it's hard to like understand how awesome some of these places are.
Yeah.
Like pools and then giant pavilions and grills that are $10,000 alone. The grills, like it's just insanity.
My boy Sean Collins grew. I love Sean. He's on the East Coast. He was the contractor showcase. Like he was like the on-site contractor.
Oh yeah, I know. Duh, yeah, I know who you're talking about. Good grief.
Yeah, he goes.
Yeah, they build awesome stuff. Oh my gosh.
Incredible stuff. Like if you guys don't know Premier Outdoor Living, as his business.
Yep.
I told Sean, I said when I build my outdoor, because we're gonna have to build the whole home and like the landscaping and like phases because it's a gob. But Sean's like, dude, I'll come up there. I'm like, you'll come up to Michigan? He's like, dude, I'll come up to Michigan and build whatever you want. I go. Bet. I go, dude, like RSVP that for spring 2021. And he goes, dude, like round up Alex Nickens, round up Caleb Auman, let's do this huge like YouTube like celebrity build out. I'm not a celebrity, but you know what I'm saying? I was like, we need to get all these guys up. And
that would be crazy.
I was texting Brittany on Instagram, your wife, and she goes, because I said like, what do you guys like more, stamped concrete or paver patio? And she shot me like 5 videos. She's like, honey, paver patio all day long. She's like. She was so cool. She's like, Caleb and I will come up there and we will build one for free for you, just so we can show you the differences. And she was so passionate, which might be a great segue into what she's doing right now.
Yeah.
So literally as we speak, and by the way, hardscapeacademy.com.
Thehardscapeacademy.com.
So thehardscapeacademy.com.
Because in Ohio we call everything the or the.
Oh,
right?
Jesus! Is that really why you did that?
The Ohio State University.
And the podcast is over. Okay,
the Walmart.
The Walmart. So what about the melting pot?
We're not going to talk about
the melting pot.
It's the melting pot.
The melting pot.
I don't know if you knew that or not.
Fastball right down the middle.
Anyways,
And then
I can't hit them all, Brian.
Yeah, well, you're doing pretty good with your business right now. So, is it how to install pavers.net? Is that still up?
Everything is transferred over to the hardscapeacademy.com though. So that's now the catch-all for all our hardscape stuff and all our training stuff.
We'll leave that in the show notes. And how much are the programs? Like $100.
$100 each. Yeah, we'll run specials once in a while. Of like buy one get one. Actually, if you buy them both, you get a discount or whatever. But they're I suck at selling these things. So I always get sheepish about like talking about it.
Yeah,
like they're a great value. I know like the feedback I've gotten has just been awesome to hear guys say like, dude, I did my first patio and made $5,000 on my first patio. Which, by the way, that's cool. But you got to run that against your man hours. Make sure it's a good rate per man hour, right? So I gotta like always preface that of like, don't get caught up in it because you can lose as much money hardscaping as you can anything else.
Okay.
And just like in lawn care, you lose money in lawn care and you can make money in lawn care.
100%.
And that's why you need to go to. How about this reciprocation? That's why you need to go to Lawntrepreneur and figure out how to actually make money in lawn care because there is money in lawn care. You just got to do it. You can figure it out.
I agree. These resources, they're not just like to pad the bank account for Caleb and I. Frankly, like if they were, we would be selling these for $9.97. I'm just going to be honest with you because I think the value is in them. Even an aeration overseed training program, maybe not as not as hard to learn as how to install a retaining wall. So you could absolutely be selling these for $9.97. I still think they're a tremendous value because, like you said, you do one retaining wall and it'll probably pay for the course alone. But you sell them for
absolutely
$100.
Yeah.
So we'll leave all that in the show notes. If you guys want to go over there, check it out. If you're interested in that, cool. If not, no big deal. I just wanted to get the full story, like. And give Caleb the platform to be able to talk about that because you guys that are listening have been buying a lot of these programs and really liking the content in them from both LaunchpreneurAcademy.com and thehardscapeacademy.com. Okay, so transition back to Britt. So Britt right now, literally as we speak, the reason Caleb's up here is he's actually chauffeuring the lady.
I'm riding her coattails.
I was gonna say like she's the main event,
Yeah, really, she is.
So you're like the assistant and making sure that she gets to everywhere on time. So she's got some really cool opportunities. Which, by the way, Brittany can hold her own. She is awesome.
Totally.
She's a great girl. I love watching her Instagram as much as I love watching yours. What is it, at Brittany Auman?
Yep, at Auman Brittany.
At Auman Brittany. So I love watching Brittany's Instagram and like catching up. And sometimes she shows the family stuff in there too. Like, hey, like we came home and the house looks like a typhoon happened. And
every night.
Because Liz and I were like, I'm like, you ready for kids? I'm like, we don't have to do the kid thing. But she's like, I want kids. I'm like, she's like, you want kids? I go, I want kids too. She's like, if we do that, it's going to look like this. And we're like,
Kids are awesome, man. You won't regret it. It's
No.
the most awesome thing. I know you won't, but yeah, I know you don't think that, but man, it's awesome.
Right now, everything at our house, it's at where it needs to be.
Yeah. I have friends that are civilized and actually manage their children and their house somehow.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's something with the Aumans we're missing somewhere. Why our place is always a wreck.
That's fair. That's fair.
You know, so I know people have control of their place somehow. We don't somehow.
The only variable in my house is my dog, and because he's crazy. You know, he's a Pomsky, 25.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot you guys got
Teddy.
that thing.
We got that thing.
Oh, geez.
Its pronouns are he, him. Just so you know.
Okay, well, I don't want to tread there too lightly.
So what's Britt got going on today? It's the women's hardscaping. You take it away. I don't know.
They're called I'm not fully sure yet either, but it's called the Crew Collaborative.
Okay.
And Crew is an acronym for something that I can't remember off the top of my head, but what it's geared at is their mantra as of now is empowering women in the construction field. So anywhere from the green industry to full-blown construction. They've got a dozen ladies meeting right now. The goal is they're planning for a meetup next year.
Okay.
That's going to be open to women in construction, and they're saying even the guys too, but they've got women in there that run freaking like mines, like coal mines, and like they got some. And some big names in there like Shell Oil and Caterpillar and just all sorts of stuff in there going on. And so it should be a neat array of backgrounds and experience levels and professionals that I think is going to be pretty cool, actually. So, and then of course, it's pretty neat. And Missy Sherber, if you know her, she's a big name in the excavation world from her and her husband's company, Sherber Excavating. Okay. They're up here in Minneapolis, actually, which is they're a big boy construction company.
Sure.
They do some big stuff. So, anyways, that's what Britt's up here doing, and then it's a neat opportunity for her and I think the industry in general. So
does she works in the field a couple days a week with you, or manages the office, or a little bit of both?
Yes and yes. So aside from keeping me on the rails and the kids on the rails and running so much of our personal household,
right?
Thank God. And then the company which she owns, and she signs my paycheck. I work for her.
Right.
Nice. It's I'll tell you, it's one of those things. Another thing I've learned, even if and it's one of the reasons I didn't delegate that stuff out in my first company when I crashed it. All that paperwork and all the taxes and all that stuff, someone has to handle that. I didn't want to handle it.
Yep.
And that's why my company crashed, because I kept putting it off, and that's a whole nother long story. But Britt handles that, and then her and I, when we got to get out in the field to go do like an emergency response kind of project, or we don't get out in the field to do much hardscape work or anything like that. Her and I are usually responding to like a last minute sinkhole repair.
Gotcha.
For a parking lot that's got a sinkhole developed, and we're gonna load stuff up and head a couple hours out of town to go take care of that, because it's stuff that these big grocery chains don't want out in the parking lot, of course. So we could jump on that pretty last minute, but she'll jump out in the excavator and get things done. I can't get her on a concrete saw yet. She doesn't want to mess with that thing.
Yeah.
But otherwise, running machinery and like swinging a sledge or hammer drilling dowels for concrete, she'll get out and do it, and then bill it out at the end of the day too. And so she's a cool chick.
She's a butt kicker, bro, and she's every part of don't quote weight, but she's like 120-pound little stick figure out there. Very petite.
She's a brute though, man.
Yeah,
watch out. Don't judge that. Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like
I know.
She's like, I'm like, how do you describe a woman without mentioning weight? She's like, she's the petite, pretty young lady. Yeah, for sure. But she holds her own, bro. Like she's out there, and you're in the skid, and then she's in the skid, and I'm like, dude, she's not just like doing Instagram or like surveying. Like she's like out there kicking butt.
Yeah, totally.
And it's really cool too, because before we hit record, we were just spitballing again to go full circle to the beginning, which was about Launchpreneur Academy Live, which tickets should go on sale any minute now by the time you guys are listening to this. Well, I said, Caleb, I'd love to have both of you guys share if you're open, because so many women run the business with their husband. So many women quarterback a lot of the business, like you said, the back end office.
Right, sure.
Liz helps me tremendously with that stuff.
Sure.
Our personal bills, our finances, our life. She keeps me together. Like people are like, well, what do stay-at-home wives do? I go, everything.
Yeah.
If you're 19 or 25, like, oh, they're just sucking off the teat. I go, don't say that to a woman. Yeah. That's like Brittany is like quarterback in 7 different aspects of your guys' life.
Totally.
And it's like, again, like what was the old I saw like a price breakdown once. It's like childcare, nanny,
Right.
cleaning the house, chef, all these different things. And then, also like making 40 grand a year, like to hire that all out, like what a woman does, like 150 grand a year worth of work.
Right.
And so it's crazy. And I just want to tip the hat to you guys, because you guys are a great power couple, just great entrepreneurial couple. And I just really respect you guys. It's going to be great having you guys both share. Now I if you want to get, your 45-minute slot, 35 minutes to Brittany and 10 minutes for you. That's okay too. I'm just having fun. So I think I said that to you last year. I said, hey, Brittany's going to be sharing, right? And you go, I thought it was me this year. And I go, oh yeah, that's cool too, but
it's all about me. No, Britt's getting better about it. And like, obviously, if you saw my presentation last year, it was good, but it was real dry. And I've never spoken to that many people before. And I learned so much from that. Cause like then Keith and Stan come up and destroy the place, like absolutely rock the hell out of the place.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, I got a lot to work on.
No,
so
whatever.
It's like,
you did a great job.
But I want to get Britt out because her perspective on things is so good.
Yep.
And her intuition is solid, and I think it's good to encourage other couples if they want to go down that route of like what is the most important things of like from a woman's perspective of like co-entrepreneurship and co-business. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, even right now, like we're considering, like I don't want to spend the money, but we're gonna hire a house cleaner. I think is what it's gonna come down to.
100%.
It's like if we just even work, we can pay for it just by working that time we're cleaning, or spend more time with the kids.
Yeah.
Or just not have to worry about that stuff. Yeah. And it's for what it really costs. It's like my frugal side is like, and then like my old soul in me, it's like, well, the older generations, would never do. That's not frugal and all. But at the same time, like I've got to keep that mentality somewhat in check.
Yep.
Because it's like it's not I don't want to say the modern reality, but at the same time, it's like I can do more productive things with that time.
100%.
Way more. And I know you're huge on this, which is something I always think is really cool, which is part of my inspiration on this of like you and a couple other people I know, they're hiring out some services that they should not be doing. Yeah. And it's like, it's just one of those things, if you can hire it out cheaper than you technically or theoretically can do it for yourself. And I think that's what I heard you say one time, which was my driver for it. Was like, you're better off to go out and bill at your rate and pay somebody, to do another service at a better value.
Right.
Then, whatever. And it's like, you start looking at those terms, you're like, yeah, that's really true. That's a good point.
I mean, I didn't make that up. I learned that from other successful people.
Sure.
Because I want to be a millionaire. And I'm like, how do millionaires think? Right. And they're like, you look at a professional athlete, he doesn't cook his food. Right. He doesn't clean his house. He doesn't do anything. He's a professional athlete. But to be, like Stan said on our last podcast, to be what did he say? A master of, jack of all trades and a master of two.
Yep.
So he goes, that's how it is. That's how it works. Like, if Gary Vee was busy cleaning his house, he can't go do a presentation and rock a stadium of 10,000 people and get charged, charge them $200,000.
Right.
So like he would be, by go cleaning the house for 2.5 hours, it would cost him $450,000 or $500,000.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, okay, there's got to be some truth to that. And then you hear it from like 20 different high achiever people. And by the way, like you said, if you net money, make money, keep the delta based on just the money part, cool. But heck, just enjoying time with your family.
Totally.
I mean, that's, to me, like, that's the real stuff that we're all trying to help you guys out with this kind of content is, Liz and I, like, if we make more, great. But if we get to spend time with my mom or her mom, because, that's like an hourglass that those sands are just going through. That's way more important to us as we all get older. So
very, very seldom do people on their deathbed say they wish they worked more.
This is true.
And you got to temper that, of course, because that can go the other way too. I mean, you can not work enough and be on your deathbed and leave everybody with nothing at the same time. So it's like
untapped potential. Yeah,
and so like I say that stuff, and I always feel like I just feel like I always have to caveat everything I freaking say anymore. But but dude, you're so dead on. So there.
This is good. Open mic. Any? We're already at an hour, dude. We're just hanging out.
Jeez, man. Everybody having to sit around and listen to this for an hour.
Well, I tell people all the time, it turns into a time warp. You know, when you do a podcast, and if any of you guys have been on the podcast, you know what I'm talking about, because you're probably nodding your head, dude. If 1 hour felt like 15 minutes, not even.
Totally.
And if I haven't got you on the podcast yet, like hang tight, because I want to get so many more of you guys on the podcast. We're gonna open it up towards summer or late summer and into fall and winter, and of course for next season, get so many more people on the podcast, because all of you guys have so many great stories and great businesses as well. So don't think it's just exclusive to all these big dog YouTube type people or, all the big names. I can't wait to hear so many more of your guys' story, which is exciting. But as we wind down, anything else that you want to leave, just current events? Or we'll see you in November?
Yeah,
for sure?
I'm looking so forward to that. I'm so flattered you have us back. It's awesome. Just don't be afraid to delegate and turn your guys loose, but train them, have standard operating procedures, and don't be afraid to delegate, but they're going to mess up, and learn from it, and try to be somebody you would want to work for.
I love it.
There we go.
Last thing, your Instagram again, so the people can catch up.
At Auman Landscape LLC, I think it is.
At Auman Landscape LLC on Instagram, and at Auman Brett.
Yeah, at Auman Brittany. Yep.
I love it. Shoot these guys a DM. Say, hey, heard your podcast on the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Great job, Caleb. Because, this takes time. It takes effort and energy to put this stuff out. So if you guys want to shoot these guys, a quick message and say, hey, dude, thanks for opening up. Like, I know that really just puts a little fire in their belly and just encourages them that afternoon or that evening when they get home and they know that this kind of content's helping you guys out, and it just reciprocates because we don't always get that immediate feedback that people are listening, but when you guys shoot those DMs, it gets pretty real, and it's always exciting to say, dude, glad to hear, man. What part did you like the most, and how did the content help you out? And I love having those kind of conversations and knowing that this kind of content helps you guys out. So all right, well, hey guys, that's it. We're gonna wrap it up here. Stay tuned for some more episodes coming up this week. And if you guys haven't left a 5-star rating or review just yet, and you guys want to review and rate the show, leave us a 5-star rating. Leave us a couple sentence review. It does us a big solid when you guys do that because it just social proofs the podcast, lets other folks know that the content that we're putting out, it's worth their time, and they can go through those reviews and just see the positive words and kind things that you guys have to say. And plus, we like to read them out loud. So next week I'm going to be reading all the different ratings that came in and reviews that came in from last week. We have about 7 or 8 more that came in, which is just super exciting. So if you guys want to hear your review left on the show live, which is always exciting, and who doesn't want a cool little shout out? Make sure you guys do that. Just scroll all the way down to the bottom. Usually it's exclusive for iTunes, but scroll all the way to the bottom, leave us some feedback, and let us know how we're doing. So, Caleb, thank you so much again for joining us on the show.
Thank you, man.
All right, love it. All right, we'll see you guys. Have a great night. We'll catch up with you guys on the next one.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.